Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am super excited for this video because I'm a clown and I purchased the Natasha Denona Love Palette after I said I wouldn't. Surprise, surprise. I just felt like the original promo pictures, there were so many different ones where some I would like it so much and others I thought, no, I don't really like that. And after watching a ton of reviews and hearing people's thoughts on the palette, I wanted to go ahead and give it a chance because A, I love Natasha Denona's formula, B, I thought what the palette actually looked like was really pretty, and C, I had this in my cart for days. And I ended up seeing on Beauty Deals BFF a code for 15% off Sephora, and I was like, what the heck, I'll try it. And it worked, so here it is in my life. Although I did realize after getting this in the mail that every single Natasha Denona palette I own, I have two that were gifted, but all the other ones I'm like, I've never paid full price for it. So I'm actually kind of glad I waited it out a little bit because I was able to get the 15% off, and then I used Rakuten and got some cash back as well. So it was all worth it in the end, hopefully. If I like it, we'll see. Maybe let me slow down. Okay, so here is what the palette looks like. And this is the color story. So I don't know why it is that this is kind of hard to capture how it truly looks, because even now in this lighting, I feel like it's looking a little bit more neutral, a little bit more muted, but whenever I took pictures in the sunlight for Instagram, it looked even more pink and intense. So here is what the palette looks like. A bunch of these shades are duochromes. So today I'm just going to go ahead and do some swatches, a look, and then at the end I'll give you my first impression thoughts so far. So let's jump right on in. Okay, so I'm looking at this color story and I think I'm actually going to swatch this super weird and out of order. I've seen so many people swatch it so far, so I feel like doing it just like row by row is kind of like redundant. I mean, it's normally how I do it either way, but I just thought it might be interesting to go ahead and I'm going to swatch them in color story. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do all the pinks and reds first, and then the purples, and then the more neutral shades, just so you can see how they look like right next to each other. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with Valentine, Intense, and Soul. Ooh. Feel like, okay, those look really pretty. I'm actually kind of shocked. I feel like Valentine looks so much lighter in the palette compared to how it's swatched. It's actually like a pretty decently pigmented pink. I mean, it's still a baby pink for sure, but definitely more than I was expecting. Now I'm going to go ahead and do Giving, Heart, and Heartbeat, which Giving looks to be like kind of like a pink to gold duochrome. It's really, really pretty. That one's a little bit lighter than I expected it to be. Heartbeat, I'm going to go do a little second layer just to see. All right, now we're kind of transitioning from the pink to the purple, so I'm going to go ahead and do Passion, Trust, and then Dream. Passion's definitely more of a burgundy. Super, super pretty. That one's super smooth. Right, now I think I'm going to go ahead and do Pure Love, Commitment, and Blind. Which Commitment looks like a really, really deep purple, actually. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and do Transparent, Lifetime, and First. Ooh, those are both really pretty, actually. Alright, so even First, it looks so pale in the thing, but it's actually giving me some color. It's just like a very, very light, soft pink. Now I'm kind of wishing I'd swatched these two shades with the pinks, but that's okay. So I hope that was a little bit helpful for you at all. I think that they all swatched really pretty. The shimmers look stunning. I feel like the mattes all look pigmented, so I'm really, really excited to dive into this. Alright, so I already primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer. I really want to do a little bit of a softer pinky look today, so I think I'm going to go ahead and start off with First. And I'm going to throw that right in my crease. It's kind of a peachy transition on me. I really thought that was going to be like my skin tone kind of color. Just going to blend that out all the way. I actually saw Natasha Denona do a live on Sephora earlier, and I'm not following her exact steps by any means, but just the overall look had me inspired, so thought I would do something to that effect, even though I'm not even showing you the look right now because I don't even think I have any pictures or anything. It was kind of a funny live because the light kept turning on and off and it was like a hot mess. It was like if I did a live, that's how it would be. But of course her makeup and everything was still perfection. My concealer is creasing so bad today. You see that? I don't know. I feel like I've been trying to do this one concealer and powder combo and I just don't think it's working. Alrighty, I feel like that is blending really nice so far. Really like that color. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and dip into Valentine now. And I'm just gonna take the same brush actually and go a little bit lower. See, that's really pretty. Originally, when I saw the palette, the pictures were just so back and forth. Like, I'd see one, I'm like, wow, I love it. Then I'd see another, and I'm like, wow, I hate it, kind of thing. So crazy how much a little lighting change can do, but really liking the way it looks on the eyes right now. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and dip into First and Valentine on a little pencil brush and just blend those both together along the lower lash line. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and take some of the shade Intense, and I'm going to start that off. I'm just going to use just a tiny little bit of that, and what the heck? I have like one hair that's like super long on this brush. I don't know why, but I'm just going to cut it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just slightly blend that out. I feel like it blended pretty much immediately. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit of the shade Soul, which, I don't know, just really calls to me. Such a pretty tone. And again, just popping that in that same exact spot. So I have that partially blended out, and then I'm going to go back into the brush I used before, that big fluffy one, and just blend over the edges. I feel like that gave a really, really pretty, soft, kind of rosy look overall. It's not, I mean, it's super pink, but it's not just like a cool toned pink. It has the rosiness to it, which I appreciate. I think it's really pretty. Still kind of bordering on I have pink eye, but that's fine. We're gonna make it look glamorous. So I think, what should I do? I mean, I could keep deepening it, but I'm kind of like wanting to do more of a very soft, subtle kind of look today. Okay, I'm just, for the heck of it, I'm gonna go into a little bit of Heartbeat, and I'm gonna pop that again, same exact spot. I'm doing a lot of layering, so if it doesn't start getting patchy, I'm gonna be super impressed because my outer V tends to do that whenever I decide to go in with a ton of shadows. Oop. That was a lot of pigmentation, oh my goodness. Alright, so I feel like I accidentally let that color take over. I'm just gonna go back with my previous brush and blend the edges. I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more of Heartbeat along the lower lash line, just like the outer third or so, just kind of blending it in. I'm going with a little bit of bigger pencil brush just to give a more intense kind of look. I really like this shade Heartbeat. I feel like it's such a pretty color. I was listening to Enrique Iglesias songs like, I don't know, a few weeks back, just his old songs. Now I can't get his song with Nicole Scherzinger, Heartbeat, out of my head. It's so catchy, and this shade is not helping. Right, before I do my lid shade, I think I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of Commitment on a small like eyeliner brush. Oh man, that picked up a lot. And I'm going to smudge that along my lash line. Nothing too precise, but just adding a little bit of extra definition. I always like the way soft eyeliner looks, but I never, ever remember to do it or even think about it. While I have that shade on my little eyeliner brush, I'm just going to take a touch of it along the outer part of the lower lash line as well. Such a pretty kind of like really purple based burgundy. I wanted to do a soft look, so I don't know how this happened. All right, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start off with Giving for my lid. And I'm just gonna use my finger. I'm gonna pop that shade over the center of my lid. I don't know if I love the way that looks just because it almost looks like it's more of a topper, but I feel like I can kind of see my eyelid underneath, like when the sparkles aren't hitting it. I mean, maybe it's just the base shade is super close to my skin tone, but I don't really love that. Maybe, I mean, that might be pretty if I had like a matte shade all over the lid and then I put that on top, but just on its own over my bare skin, I'm not sure. Maybe with a glitter glue. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take the shade Transparent now, this one right here, again on my finger, and I'm gonna pop that onto the inner half of the lid. That one's a little bit more of a traditional metallic. Okay, I'm gonna go back into some more of Giving. Pop that over the top again. I don't know if I love that. I feel like I loved the mattes so much this whole time. I was like, wow, I'm loving this look. But the shimmers right there, I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to think what I can do to make myself love this look. And I know I already have like 2 layers of shimmers on, but I'm gonna go ahead and use my NYX glitter primer and just see if I can up the intensity a little bit. Just grabbing a little bit of that on my brush and tapping it over the lid. Just letting that get tacky, and I'm gonna go in with that same brush and I'm gonna go into that shade Giving, the pinky one. That all over the lid now. Okay, that's definitely looking much better. I'm gonna need to blend and get rid of the fallout, but no, so much fallout. Oh my goodness. I honestly don't think there's any recovering from the amount of pink sparkle that's underneath my eyes right now, but we're just gonna pretend that doesn't exist. I think I'm gonna go into a little bit more of the shade Valentine with my pencil brush, and I'm gonna pop that onto the front of the lower lash line just for a little bit extra pink. All right, now I'm gonna go into Transparent again and use that as my inner corner highlight. All right, really quickly off camera, I'm gonna go ahead and add some eyeliner, some mascara, and then I'll be right back. All right, so for blush and highlighter today, I'm gonna go into the Natasha Denona Diamond and Blush palette. I haven't used this in a while, if I'm being honest. I've kind of forgotten about it, but I saw it was on sale on Sephora, like half off. Crazy deal if it has been something you're interested in a long time, and when I used it I really liked it. I've just been neglecting it, so I wanted to go ahead and pull it back out. I think I'm going to go ahead and use this shade Glow as like a blush. The first time I used that I thought it was a cream product, and I applied it with a beauty blender and I was so confused because it looked crazy on me, and then whenever I finally swatched I was like, okay, that's a powder. I'm crazy. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that on a big blush brush, and I'm gonna kind of tap a little bit off on my hand as well, just so it's not quite as intense, but it's a very pinky golden glow. That's so pretty. And then for highlighter, I'm gonna go into the Glow Extreme Powder and just gonna pop that on the tops of my cheekbones. All right, for a lipstick today, I'm going to go into the Lisa Eldridge lipstick in the shade Velvet Muse, which is a really beautiful kind of muted pink tone. I thought it would perfectly pair with this look. Alright, so this is the finished look with the palette. Definitely a little bit bolder than what I originally had in mind, but I do think it turned out really pretty. I feel like so far I really like the mattes that are in the palette. They kind of surprised me. I just really love the tones of them. I feel like they blended really well. They were pigmented, smooth, so I'm a big fan of the mattes. As far as the shimmers go, I definitely feel like I need to play more. I think my mistake was the fact that I thought this shade Giving was like a fully pigmented shimmer, and it's more of a topper type shade, so I will definitely keep that in mind going in the future. I think it looks really pretty over a glitter glue, so if you want that shade to have kind of that full intense intensity, I don't know what to say, I'm sorry, then I would recommend using it with a glitter glue. I think that definitely really helps. A lot of the other shimmers felt super, super pigmented and creamy and just like fully opaque. So I'm sure the next look I do, I won't have that problem. Thought inspiration too. Inspiration. It says transparent. I don't know where I got inspiration from. That's not even a shade in here. Okay, the shade transparent is really beautiful on the inner corner as well, and it just gives a nice kind of like soft rose gold. Just a very subtle inner corner, but I do think it goes well with the rest of the look. Can you tell it's past my bedtime? So I would say so far, first impression, I would give it like maybe like an A-, B+ kind of feeling thus far, but I'm so excited to keep playing with it. I really love the size of this palette. I feel like it's kind of interesting how boring the packaging is of this front of the palette compared to the Cheek Glow palette, which was so much fun, and this is more just simple, which is not a problem at all. And then there's also little holes on the back, so you can actually rearrange the shadows if you would like, which I appreciate, because with some of her other palettes, like I've tried to move a few things around, and the ones that don't have the holes, it's just a little bit, like they are magnetic, but it's just a little bit nerve-wracking trying to move the shades because there's not a lot of room and give, and I don't want to ever break a Natasha Denona shadow, so I appreciate that little detail, even though when you do swatch, the pans kind of move around, but that's not even a really big deal to anyone, I don't think. And then the mirror is gigantic for this palette. Like I feel like it is so high quality, and as you can see, like there's just like a tiny little rim, so they gave you as much mirror space as possible, which I appreciate. So those are my thoughts so far. I would love to know if you decided to pass on this palette or not, or if you're like me and you originally talked yourself out of it and then you caved. Did not take me very long to cave on this one. I've only bought 2 palettes this month, the month of February, but they were both Natasha Denona palettes. She gets me every time. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.